I'm I'm getting ready to announce a small group coaching class called Professional Thesis 2.1 Skin Design, and the this is the site that I've created for that. This is the skin that we're going to build in the class. One of the things that I've observed is that thesis skins typically do not come with a lot of bells and whistles, and I think the primary reason for that is twofold. One is that sort of seasoned thesis developers have a bias against them, and um, and people who are would-be thesis developers very have a difficult time kind of breaking into thesis development because thesis development requires a fuller understanding of programming, especially object-oriented programming, than a typical WordPress developer gets. And so this is a totally cool site. Um, it's got all kinds of really hoopy features. It's got this full screen slider, which changes shape as the as the as the window size changes. This kind of really neat kind of disappearing header. It's got a cool responsive menu. Looks quite a bit different than the typical menu. Um, uh, it's got this really neat sort of subscribe form where you can, you click on it, it opens way up. And same thing is true with sharing. You can pick your favorite sharing thing. Each of these slides are, will link off to other pages if you want them to. Um, it has this totally cool portfolio system where, not only do you have this little jumping up thing with excerpts, but you can also sort of filter the various um, posts based on category, for example, including showing them all. It has, let's go back to home. It's got this great big slider. It has, these cool little icon boxes. It has this carousel that can display anything. A bunch of opt-in boxes. Kind of a cool setup for recent posts. It's got this parallax opt-in box, which people are loving these days. A different way of displaying portfolio stuff. And uh, let's see, what other cool stuff does it have? Um, it's got these big banners over the pages where you can add sort of marketing style banners over them. This is the home page, and you can have this style of home page, or you can have this masonry style of home page. Again, these things do really cool stuff when it shrinks up, so it's fully and completely responsive. Um, and the skin is designed very specifically to make it easy for somebody to set up. Right? It's got a cool little author box and nicely formatted comments. It's got recent posts. Just got all different ways of displaying really hoopy content. Um, with lots of nifty bells and whistles. Let's see. I was going to show you. Well, not home. Let's see. Where's Cafe News? So it's got, um, you know, clever little previous posts and next posts thing. You get down to that previous post setup, and you can go to the previous post, or you can go back to the blog page. When you go to these posts, it's got these neat little you know, tips that pop up when you hover over things. It's just a totally cool skin, and it makes use of lots of very modern JavaScript features in order to make all this stuff work. And this is stuff that is, commonly ignored by Thesis skins. So Moss asks, any chance of it being taught in the evening? And the answer is yes. In fact, I will be teaching it. I think these small group coaching classes I'm going to start teaching twice in a day. This last class I've been teaching that way. The next one I'm going to teach the same way. So we'll do one session at 11 in the morning my time and one session at 5 in the evening this time, on the same day. So there'll be 2 sessions available for each lesson. And anyway, you'll see an email about it tomorrow, and then I'm working on a little video on it and that kind of stuff. So there'll be more stuff coming out. But this class is going to start on November 16th. And anyway, it's totally cool. Actually, I should show you it has a really sophisticated color system. So if you go to skin design, you really have a big range of colors to choose from, and you can set up your own colors, and pick different color schemes for different aspects of it and move them around. And so it uses quite a few different colors. You can make lots of choices about those colors. It makes it uses the Thesis header image function, so it's very simple to add the header image. It uses the display option system, so if somebody doesn't want the slider on their front page, or if they don't want the featured pages or the carousel or whatever, they can just turn that stuff off. Fairly straightforward setup for all of the various elements. It's certainly the most sophisticated skin I've ever done, including setting up the different social profiles, and whatever social profiles you set up show up. For example, down here I have these 2 social profiles set up. So there's all kinds of just cool stuff in this skin. And the main purpose for teaching this skin is to really teach all of the professional programming that that is really necessary in order to bring something like this to the marketplace. It's one thing to develop a skin that you might be setting up for a client, but it's another thing to develop a skin that has a full complement of options that gives the end user, a lot of control, and that you would sell in the marketplace. Because there's a huge demand really for Thesis skins. There aren't very many of them out there, really. There's probably not more than 30 good Thesis skins out there, and only a handful of good Thesis skin developers. And so this is it's the one weakness that Thesis has, and it's my goal to solve that weakness by teaching people how to create skins that are good enough for them to sell. So anyway, there'll be a there'll be a notice. You'll see an email tomorrow, and there'll be more emails coming along as the details kind of shake out. But you might um, you might take a look at the syllabus. I do have the syllabus laid out already. It's going to be a 10-week course, so we do have a pretty extensive. I mean, by the time we're done, I think we end up creating like 12 or 15 different custom skin boxes, and yeah, how many skin boxes do we create? Let's see. I just look over here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I guess you got a lot of them. 18, 19, 20. So we've got 20 skin boxes, and there's one missing. Actually, there's one I want to do that's on the syllabus, but I haven't actually written. But it makes it really easy for your end user to set up calls to action, because they can just do it from directly from skin content. For example, that the front page parallax link box, that's one of those calls to action, and you can give it a heading, you can give it some content, you can give button text. If you want a button, you can have a URL that links off to it, and you can create your own background image and add it. And so you can have as many of these parallax opt-in boxes as you want. The same thing is true with, let's see, we've got a little vertical link box. That's the one sitting next to the carousel. Again, it works the same way, right? Add your content to it, add a button that links off to the page you want to go to, add the URL that you want it to go to. That's all there is to it. And otherwise, it gets styled properly for you. So it's going to have a lot of options that I think the typical end user that doesn't want to have to ever touch the skin editor can use to configure and come up with a really cool looking site without having to master the skin editor. So there's all kinds of neat stuff, including slide post types and creating slideshows, and portfolio post types, and creating all those different portfolio items and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a totally cool, full-featured skin, and along the way, you learn all the skills that are necessary in order to really create a modern, full-featured, all the bells and whistles type of skin, which there are very few of out there right now. So